Epilepsy warning for flashing lights and colors.
What's not to love about a good old haunted house ride? These classic attractions take riders through an action-packed course with loads of scares. In my last video, we've discussed incredible haunted house rides like the ones at Knoebels and the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. However, this list will focus on a new set of dark rides, many of which are lesser known. So as voted on by the viewers, here are the top 10 scariest haunted house rides. Number 10. Psychos on the French Fair Circuit. This attraction is only known to have operated in France, including at the annual Foire de Trône in Paris. At first, this ride doesn't seem like much, with a simple mannequin and a laser light display in the beginning. Just around the corner though, you'll come face to face with a buzzsaw. It gets pretty close to the ride vehicle too, with only the cage standing between you and the spinning blade. But that's not the only reason for this cage. As you're passing a coffin, a scare actor in a leather mask will jump out at you with a chainsaw. Sure, it doesn't have the chain on it, but that doesn't mean it won't scare the hell out of you. And as if that weren't bad enough, he'll actually follow your ride vehicle just to troll you. He even makes a second appearance towards the end, doing the exact same thing. As for the rest of the ride, it does have standard props and jump scares, but the use of live actors are what truly makes it special. And let's be honest, wouldn't it be so much fun to get paid to do this? Number 9. House of Horrors at England's Grand Pier. Situated on the shore of the Bristol Channel, the Grand Pier is an indoor amusement park with a large arcade and a spooky dark ride. Unlike most haunted house rides, this one is much more subtle, relying less on jump scares and props and more on giving a creepy, unsettling atmosphere. This is indeed a haunted house ride in the literal sense, taking place inside of a mock house. All throughout the layout, you'll come in contact with apparitions and zombies, with the eerie, quiet atmosphere making the jump scares much more frightening. One can easily argue that the barely lit staircases and hallways are much more terrifying than the ghosts and skeletons. And while it isn't very large, it can certainly be considered one of the creepier dark rides of its kind. You could say it's a more subtle scare fest, and a definite must-do in the area. Number 8. Demonium from the European Fair Circuit. First debuting at Germany's Oktoberfest, this ride is now a widely known regular at London, England's Hyde Park Winter Wonderland. The best way I can describe this ride is like a nightmare crossed with a dream. Despite the scares, the way it's put together is both surreal and awe-inspiring. The ride starts off with its most unique feature, a large spiral lift with a tower of cages in the middle. You've got a witch, a hunchback, and even a xenomorph. After reaching the top, you'll pass a scare actor in a mask brandishing a chainsaw at you. You'll then pass by several different dioramas, each showcasing a spooky and/or gruesome set piece. Among these are a man being sawed, a torture rack, another guy with a chainsaw, and a bunch of executioners. It's fast-paced, exciting, and strange in the best way. If you can get on this ride, you're in for a unique experience. Number 7. Spøgelsetoget at Denmark's Bakken. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. To this day, Bakken remains the world's oldest operating amusement park, opening all the way back in 1583. You heard that right. To put that in perspective, this park is older than the eruption of Krakatoa and the voyage of the Mayflower. Just one of this park's many attractions is a haunted house ride named Spøgelsetoget. For the most part, this ride hits all of the classic spooky tropes. A man in an electric chair, a portrait jump scare, and a bunch of twitching, horrifying clowns. These animatronics look just like real people in costumes, and the fact that they suddenly appear from the darkness really adds to the ride's terror factor. One thing that I wasn't able to find footage of was a reported scare actor who grabs your shoulders in the darkness, which you definitely don't see at other parks. Though this feature has reportedly been discontinued, this is still a classic attraction that's widely acclaimed by parkgoers. And it's yet another reason to visit Bakken. Number 6. Shocker on the German Fair Circuit. Known as a mainstay at the annual Oktoberfest, even the outside of this attraction is memorable. A large demonic head with red, burnt-looking skin greets guests who wish to give it a whirl. As for the inside, this is one bonkers attraction to say the least. To give an idea of how crazy this ride is, one of the first scenes has a deformed demon baby in it, and from there, the insanity only continues. In one segment of the ride, your vehicle will actually run into a few monstrous figures, but perhaps the most notable scene is the electric chair, where a burnt-looking man's eyeballs pop out of his sockets. Sometimes a scare actor will pop out of nowhere to make you jump out of your seat, Other than this, there are plenty other scenes to marvel as well, such as an exorcist tribute, a fluorescent jungle, and even a cannibalistic doctor. It's clear that a lot of time, effort, and love was put into this ride, and it's really worth supporting if you see it. Number 5. The Haunted Mansion at Delaware's Funland Park. While Delaware isn't known for its amusement rides, this one often comes up as a must-visit for dark ride fans. Though the name is fairly orthodox, the ride itself has several unique factors that make it stand out from other haunted house rides. Unlike other rides on this list, this one features suspended cars. This allows for a ride experience similar to Peter Pan's Flight, where your car is more fully immersed in an atmosphere with no track below it. The attention to detail on this ride is fantastic, from the ornate living room to the cave to the nasty spider's lair. And there are even more scenes than that. Not only is there jump scare after jump scare, but there's also a Wolfman cameo and a urinating skeleton. How cool is that? This ride has been drawing in the crowds for over 40 years and is widely considered to be a state favorite, a true treasure in the state of Delaware. Number 4. Spook-a-Rama at New York's Dino's Wonder Wheel. Located on Brooklyn's famous Coney Island, Dino's Wonder Wheel is mostly well known for its titular Ferris wheel. However, there's another classic attraction this park has to offer. Say hello to Spook-a-Rama. Sounding like something out of a Rocko's Modern Life episode, this attraction is a classic pretzel dark ride. First opening all the way back in 1955, the ride was recently renovated by Ohio-based Scare Factory Inc. Nowadays, it has some surprisingly ghastly imagery. This apparition is genuinely creepy with its deformed facial features. But that's not all. There's also these enormous hairy bats feasting on human flesh, and 2 ravenous wolves can be seen devouring human organs. There's also some pretty effective jump scares here, popping out at you again, and again. And if you're afraid of skeletons, this ride is a great opportunity to test your mettle. The graphic detail of these animatronics really helps the ride stand out from others on this list, and they can really give the fine folks at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza a run for their money. Number 3. Ghost Train on the European Fair Circuit. Also known to operate at the Foire de Trône, this ride was brought to my attention by YouTube user Diary of a Roller Coaster Girl. Similar to Demonium, this ride starts with a spiral lift. However, the scares are even more terrifying, from a giant jack-in-the-box to a scare actor swiping a machete at you out of nowhere. Adding to this ride's fear factor is the jolting, abrupt transitions towards the end, taking you from one scare to another at a relentless pace. The use of live actors continues towards the end of the ride, with a masked man in a jail cell. The use of live actors who actually intimidate the passengers make this much more than a standard haunted house ride. And people regularly run from this ride as soon as it ends. And you've got to give those actors credit. Either they're standing in a dark room most of the time, or they have to run back and forth to scare the passengers. But wow, it sure does look fun. Number 2. Psycho Hotel at Austria's Wiener Prater. This one is just terrifying. Located at the historic Wiener Prater, this dark ride took 1 year of planning and 2 years of construction. What makes it different from other haunted house rides is that it's much more brutal. In fact, the park has an age requirement of at least 12 years old to ride it. Rather than focusing on set design, this one consists almost entirely of violently gyrating animatronics coming out of the darkness. One of the most effective animatronics is the one that pops up from behind a portrait. It's just a constant barrage of cadavers and monsters popping out at you on a regular basis. And on top of the animatronics, there's this one screen that shows a man getting his head smashed open like a grape. Loud screams and psychotic laughter fill the ride building, and many consider it the most intense haunted house ride of all time. And perhaps the best part is the ability to buy a souvenir video and show your friends your terrified expressions. Number 1. Terror Castle at England's Breen Theme Park. Located in the county of Somerset, this ride is often labeled as the scariest ghost train out there. From the moment your car goes through the doors, you'll be met with absolute pandemonium. Several animatronics are seen, and the imagery that flashes by is undoubtedly disturbing. Especially the puking guys. That is a grisly and nasty sight. Along the path, you'll see holes in the wall that spell out the word die. Foreboding much? Later on, a corpse rises out of a bloody bathtub, and everything concludes with a cannibalistic woman. Though it's not as long as the other rides on this list, what truly puts this ride over the top is not the sights, but the sounds. Loud sirens and piercing screams blare throughout the ride experience, and they can be known to cause high anxiety among riders. It really just goes to show how powerful a soundtrack can be. Before we wrap things up, check out my merchandise shop for Theme Park Crazy merchandise. Take a photo wearing one of my shirts at a park, and feel free to send it to me at themeparkcrazy1992@gmail.com. Your photo may be featured on my Instagram page. I just want to give a special shout out to my new Patreon supporters. Verbal shoutouts start at the gold tier, so if you don't hear your name, it will be listed at the end of the video. Here's a special shout out to Kelsey Ward and the 32-Bit Phoenix. Thank you all so much, and if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so once again at the link in the description.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or you can check out my website at themeparkcrazy.com. This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you all next time.